Supreme.
Joshua Harris in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for coming, man.
My pleasure.
All right.
Should I move in closer?
Yep, a little bit.
Cool.
So the best thing for these microphones is for you to really just speak
Straight
directly into them.
Yeah.
You know, the further they are, they don't really sound that well, but I'll figure it out later in the post-production, which is a hell out of fun, you know?
They're not unidirectional. They're omnidirectional.
No, omnidirectional is
Oh,
when
right,
the microphone
right.
is...
Right, so it's unidirectional, not omni.
Yep.
Oops, don't let my Berkeley professor hear that.
I'll cut that scene out. What's up, man? Thank you for coming.
Here I am, man. I'm waking up in the morning going, where am I? I'm in Cuenca, Ecuador.
Where is Cuenca, Ecuador?
Where is Cuenca, Ecuador? It's the cultural capital of Ecuador, man. We're
That is true.
84,000 feet above sea level in the Andes Mountains.
Crazy when you say it like that.
Well, for me, it's a very different experience because as a gringo, I'm a long, lean body kind of guy. And I noticed when I came here, a lot of older gringos had snow white hair and a limp. Everybody looked like they were limping. I'm like, okay, what's going on with these gringos?
Mm-hmm.
And then I put two and two together. And when I first came up, I lost some eyesight in my right eye. I had all these floaters. About 5 days. That was a little bit scary, but it took me a while to adapt to the altitude. But from what I understand, because of the way I'm built, my organs and everything, I'm sort of succumbing to the lack of 30% less oxygen and the barometric pressure. So I had problems with digestion and also arthritis now that I'm 67.
I'm sorry, what is arthritis?
Arthritis is joint pain. Now,
oh, I see.
I'm an older guy, but I'm in good shape. I'm an ex-athlete, as I said to you when I was a young man, and 18.
Used to jog a lot, some track
I was
and some
number
camping.
4 in the country as a javelin thrower. I lifted weights. I was a very serious athlete. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I played every position. I could switch hit. I was
crazy.
a mean motherfucker on the baseball field, man.
So it's crazy how you go
and
from
soccer.
baseball.
I was a team captain and the most valuable player, and the defensive award of the year as a soccer player, football, and track and field. I did 4 different events. So my whole world was like sports, man, and chasing girls. And my father had to make me play the saxophone. I didn't want to practice.
But you started playing drums when you were 7.
When I was 7 years old, you see, I'm the youngest of 4, so my older brother Daniel and Michael, my father made us all learn music. We had to get into culture, which is part of our upbringing. So my brother Daniel played sax, and brother Mike played the clarinet and the sax, and I'm decided to play the drums, and I'm 7 years old, and I'm at Muzzy Mazzone's, these famous guys out who play Broadway, New York, you know.
Right, but your parents gave you the drum set, right?
No.
You would just use...
When you're 7 years old, you don't get a drum set.
Of course, that's what I'm thinking.
Back in the day.
You know?
Now, parents, they'll buy the whole kitchen sink for the kids, man, just to make them love them.
Right.
That's not
for
where
Christmas.
It's at. You know, there's a tradition to learning music like in many other cultures, and I think people just disregard that whole thing, which pisses me off. You can ask any musician who spends 100 to 150 hours, 100 to 150,000 hours alone in a room learning your craft. I don't just play the sax. I play the saxophones, all of them. I play flutes, all of them. I play clarinet, all of them, except for the ones where the key won't fit my fat finger. They got crushed.
Why did it get crushed?
When I was 6 years old, my parents left me home alone, and a set of 60-pound weights fell on it, crushed it.
Jesus.
It took 13 stitches to put it back on. So
Your pinky fell off?
Yeah, the whole pinky was
Jesus
ripped off.
Christ. That's
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Yeah, don't leave your kids home alone ever. So
Well, before when they didn't have any cell phones, then I think I'd worry more.
well, I had
Now
to.
you give them an iPad and
It
you
was
can
a
leave them for a
disgusting,
week.
horrible story. Wrapping it in the
Jesus
running down
Christ,
to the
man.
neighbors. Horrible story.
And
Look, I tell you.
when your parents came back, they just see you without a finger.
No, I had
Or-
a finger. They had to took 13 stitches to put it back on.
Oh my God.
And there's only one instrument I can't play. It's this certain kind of clarinet. It has extra keys, and my finger won't fit in there. It's
Right.
a low C clarinet. Yeah. So I'm lucky. Also, by the time I graduated high school, I was hospitalized 4 times with pneumonia. That's a viral infection of the lung.
But
That
does
will
it turn into asthma?
No, it's different. Asthma is different.
I see.
Asthma is a breathing condition brought on by certain elements in the environment that attack the respiratory, whether it's dirt, dust, mold, mites, smoke, shit like that. Even
Right.
foods can bring it on. But for me, it was just a proclivity to lung problems. It's just the way I was born. So when I was 16 months old, that's 1 year and 4 months, I was in an oxygen tent with pneumonia. So the fact that I became a saxophone player
It's probably ironic, no?
probably helped my grow out of it's considered a childhood disease, childhood condition. A lot of people have problems when they're children and they grow out of it. All depends on how you adapt to it as a human being. But I was a very high energy guy. So sports, I just kept going with the sports and the music. So knock on wood, I'm here to tell you that I haven't died of pneumonia yet. So
That's good to know.
hopefully that won't be it. But yeah, so I'm a lucky guy, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were saying that you were also in Sex and the City. You played with Whitney Houston. Like,
Yeah.
which one came first?
Oh, it's a long story, man. Well, I played Whitney Houston's first 2 world tours. The Greatest Love tour in 1986, and then I played her Moment of Truth world tour in 1987, 1988.
How was she? You talked with her daily, I bet, right?
Besides the fact that she had one of the greatest voices ever, in my opinion, and she learned all that music and comes up from a tradition of gospel music and singing and R&B, and her mom used to sing background for Chaka Khan, Aretha Franklin, Elvis Presley. So she groomed her daughter Whitney into being a great singer at the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey, which was farther east towards New York City. But I grew up in New Jersey.
Dover,
In a little
as we
town
did.
called Doverico. Dover. Dover. Enjoy. I'll be nice. Yeah. So when I was in high school, man, a lot of Puerto Riqueño, Colombiano, Ecuadorian. We had people from all over the world, man, in Dover. Because it was a hub city. It was 1 hour from Manhattan. And the Puerto Ricans came up there to work in the factories. The Presbyterian minister, I think his name is Miller, he brought up all these Puerto Ricans from Aguada to work in the factories. And I ended up working in one of those factories when I graduated high school. So, yeah, we had a lot of Spanish people. And yeah, my brother got really hooked on the culture. And, he ended up marrying a Puerto Rican woman. And,
You were telling me.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's a long story. I mean, it's funny. When I got my master's degree at Berklee College of Music in Valencia, Spain, on a partial scholarship, I ended up writing my dissertation, which is your thesis, and explaining my history, and ended up giving a presentation about the origins of the modern saxophone sound. That's what I did my thesis on at Berklee College of Music, to show how the lineage has passed on through all these saxophone players that influence each other up to me. I'm an older guy now, but the younger guy. So it's always passed on. and it's a language, and it's an art, and it's just cool. But anyway,
I've read a little bit about it, about how even John Coltrane was one of the ones who revolutionized the way you would even see music, with giant steps being so revolutionary.
yes, he revolutionized. He was a revolutionary because he experimented with harmony, and he came up with a whole set of ideas and patterns and structures that he could work within harmonically. So instead of having a simple bar with one chord here and one chord, he'll put like four chords that will make a progression harmonically that may sound chromatic and jagged, but it's a cycle or a pattern, and it works out mathematically.
Right.
He was a genius.
He was a genius.
But not only that, his sound just revolutionized. I mean,
and besides that, you're also changing keys while you're doing these crazy progressions.
well, that's it. You're not changing keys. What he's doing, he's modulating. He's taking
Okay.
the listener to another place temporarily before he
Bringing him back home.
comes back home.
Right.
So it's all knowledge here. Like, okay, that's point A, that's point B. But if I go up and down the scene with the F sharp, right there, and then but it all comes down to this.
Right.
So a lot of critics and a lot of people are like, "This is fucking madness. This is bullshit. What is this?" And you don't play in tune. They were like, they couldn't handle it. The revolution was here, man, because he busted everything.
It was
open.
spiritual.
Not only that, but his father was a preacher, and so was his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his father at a young age, and his uncle at a young age, and he was a very spiritual person, man.
I don't think he was always this level of spiritual. He was
was.
addicted to cocaine.
He
heroin
was
for
always
some time,
on a spiritual level. He never disconnected from his family and his. I mean, heroin is an unfortunate fact. That became a heroin addict, and it killed a lot of those guys.
Yeah, so
And I
he got
often
kicked
ask-
out of the Miles Davis
He got
band,
kicked out of Miles's band, but Miles took him back.
Of course, after he
People
went
don't-
and did...
People don't understand how hard it is to commit your life to the instrument, whatever instrument it is. It prioritizes everything. And when you have so much energy flowing through you and a finite amount of time, because you know you're only going to be on this earth for so long, some people are relentless. Coltrane was relentless. He practiced 8 hours a day. He played all day. I don't know how much the guy slept. Charlie Parker was dead at 32. Heroin addict at the age of 16. All the music he left, they were infected with this disease I call jazz. It was an unbelievable time in American history and the evolution of music. It was to be revered by everybody on the planet, what those guys did. So Coltrane, he dedicated his life. I mean, he had a wife. At one point, he married Alice Coltrane, and he had 2 kids. And I have to tell you something. It's very interesting. I don't know. My teacher in college, Paul Jeffrey, the late great jazz educator, he played with Thelonious Monk for 7 years.
That's crazy.
After all those great tenor players, and he played up until Monk died. But I actually played at Monk's funeral. I played at Thelonious Monk's funeral when I was 18 years old, at St. Peter's Church in Manhattan, New York City, because Paul was his guy, and Paul was an arranger. He was an arranger for Charles Mingus for 12 years and his conductor.
Charles Mingus.
And if you know anything about Charles Mingus,
he's a fucking genius.
He was a tough dude. You don't mess up the music. So Paul, he was a tough character on us. He would build us up, but also he'd tell you right to your face, you suck. You all suck. You're nothing compared to the masters. And he kept us in check. And we knew that there was no chance you'll never be like that. All you can do is learn this music and do the best you can. So that was it. You learn by copying people, which we all did. We had to transcribe. I transcribed Lester Young, Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt.
That's how you start.
That's how you start. You learn like
studying the masters.
But Branford Marsalis would say, once you transcribe, then you have to analyze. And as a horn player, you're playing melody. So you have to play the top of the harmony. You have to play the incidentals, accidentals. You have to be you're the painter on the top.
Right.
So you have to know your theory. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about Train, my teacher played duets with Coltrane on Sundays.
You told me.
He
when you
waited
said
for
that,
him on
that
Sundays,
was
man, to
insane.
come home from the gig, and they would play duets. And Paul did the same thing with Sonny Rollins. He was probably closer to Sonny Rollins. He was good friends with Sonny Rollins. But he waited for Train too, and he got to study with him and play. So I feel very lucky because I have some amazing techniques that I've learned over the years. Unfortunately, the world doesn't want it. I did get my master's degree at a late stage, but after 120 applications and filling out the diversity clause at the end of every application, I was denied because it's just not the right time for a white, bald guy. My visuals are all wrong. Most people the younger generations perceive older white guys like me as racist and the cause of all the trauma and the problems we have in the world. And there's a lot of truth to that.
But
But
it's
I'm
still
not a
pretty
white
sad,
guy.
you know?
I'm actually a minority. I'm a Jew.
Oh, I had no idea.
I'm Jewish, man. Which means not only do people want me dead, but they don't want to hire me for a job.
Oh,
It's just
I
an
see.
unfortunate circumstance.
Right.
My ex-wife is Filipina. She's as black as any black friends I have.
Right.
My niece and nephew in Puerto Rico are black Puerto Rican Jews. I come from New Jersey, the most densely populated state in America. My friends were from everywhere, man. Even I remember Mungo.
But you still made it.
I remember Mungo, man. This soccer player from Nigeria. He was my brother's age, but man, he was so cool. I said, "How you look like?" I'm 40. I eat fish and vegetables, Josh. That's all I eat. I'm like, man, I want to look like you. You know, man, I've had a lot of women, man, and I don't discriminate. Beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors, man.
And forms.
So anybody who tries to call me a racist would be a fool. And
Yeah,
I tell young
but-
people today, you need to understand something, man. Not all white people are fucked up. And
For
not all
sure,
black
man.
people are fucked up. You have to, don't judge a person by the color of the skin, by the content of their character. The problem
or where
is,
they come from.
or where they come from. The problem is younger generations don't really know how to have a conversation.
But I think it's because
Because
they've
if
been
they're on
pushed.
screens, they're in computers, they're being raised by computers and screens. You have to understand, when you watch a television, it's a great book called 4 Arguments for the Elimination of Television, written in 1987 by Jerry Mander. When you watch a television, you're taking in all of this through a cathode gun that shoots red, green, yellow, light, blue at the speed of light. You're not reacting. You're just sitting there taking it in.
Mm-hmm.
Your feelings, you have feelings and you can emote, but you're not interacting. That was the beginning of what we call the perfect autonomy. The television, the telephone, the fax machine, all those machines were made by the military.
Yeah, the internet.
In the early 20th century. That's correct. But what I'm saying is technology has taken us very far. But if people don't understand the negative aspects and sides of technology, then we all lose. Because we need to be able to speak to each other and get along and work together. It's not that hard. Xenophobia is just so prominent now. People are polarized in America.
All over the world.
And all over the world. It seems like this ugly, evil thing has reared its head and it's everywhere. But we have to stay strong because strength in numbers is the only thing that's going to save us. Is if we pull together,
yeah, for sure.
And people see, oh, there's that guy. Wait a minute, his wife, and she's black. She's black. Oh, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Colorblind, man. Love knows no bounds. Love is, and the more the people learn to love themselves
first,
and understand what compassion and empathy is for ourselves, what does that mean? Eat good food.
That's what
That's
we're gonna
treating
go,
yourself.
right?
That's loving yourself.
Right.
Don't eat that.
Even though it
Don't
looks
do
good.
it. I know you hate me. Fuck you, Josh. Don't tell me what to eat. I promise you, you're going to be okay over here. Okay. Next day, oh, Josh, thank you so much. I feel so much better. I told you. Now get some water. That's loving yourself.
It is.
And knowing what you need to be healthy and whole. And when we don't get our needs met, that's when the shit hits the fan. Why is all this violence? All these young kids. They don't see a future down the road. Now it's hitting America. You kids graduating from college. They're just like, where am I going, man? How am I going to get the girl? The job in the house? The American dream is dead, man.
It is.
It's been dead for a long time. But the rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer. So whoever has the most money holds all the cards. They get whatever they want. Good. I have a daughter and a grandson in France. My daughter, Lena. She's an environmentalist. She's a tremendous person, man. She has her master's degree in green sustainable interiors. And she is a project manager was for a real estate consulting firm. Her whole thing is getting contractors and builders to use renewable, sustainable materials, get away from plastics, synthetics, everything in this room. I can go through this room and tell you which is organic and which is synthetic. And a synthetic item has a vibe all its own. It's called off-gassing. It's chemicals. People need to be aware of their environment. There are chemicals everywhere. And my daughter is hip. She spoke at a Harvard professor asked her to speak for 10 minutes and talk about her dissertation for 10 minutes at the end of this huge conference in Washington, D.C. with EPA scientists and environmentalists. I couldn't believe it. I'm so proud of her, man. So she's on her game, man, because we taught her well. She knows what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. And that's what we need, man. We need people to help each other. Like, look, you have choices. That's your freedom, man. Freedom is your ability to make a choice for yourself. But what are you going to choose? Life is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged ego. You got the good, you got the bad. Which side are you going to choose, man? Because freedom is about choosing in the moment. When I play that horn in the moment, I'm improvising. I'm free to choose. If we're doing something and we're talking about an idea, we're trying to do something, I'm free to choose my ideas and relate it to you. So living in the moment is the thing. And that's the scariest part for all of us. To look at yourself in the mirror and say, how you doing, man? Look yourself in the mirror. Are you where you want to be? Have you gotten your needs met today? Or the past week? Or the past year? So these are conversations that we get to have with ourselves, man.
But we don't really anymore because of the phones and the polarization that has been taught to us through the television, through the telephone, through social media.
The idea of a young girl and a young kid these days with the phone, I just can't see them walking through the forest without technology. I just don't see them resetting their humanity by getting the fuck away from these phones and screens, man. Go someplace with your girlfriend and get lost. Get away from the technology. It's really important.
Take some shrooms.
What I'm trying to say.
Remember where you come from.
Yeah.
You know?
So what's happening is, what are we talking about? We're talking about these algorithms, man. That's feeding us all this shit. All I do all day is like, get the fuck out with this algorithm. Don't get away with the AI. I just want to watch the fucking basketball game.
Yeah. Or the fucking commercials that pop up according to
what I tell young
espionage,
people is
you know?
like, look, man, it's your world. You're going to inherit it. Be strong. Be courageous. Don't follow the fucking leaders. They don't know where they're going. Be very careful about who you listen to and question authority. That's what I learned. Yeah, I'm a maverick, man. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not in the best shape financially, but I'm a free man, and I'm pretty happy and content with the work that I've done on this planet. I'm not done yet. So my word of advice to young people is step back from the technology and understand that you're being controlled by these algorithms, like the television. Who controls the television? For each
Screenwriters.
network, about 5 people.
Right.
So all this information coming into the millions of homes is decided by 5 people who decide what's the best for you or what you're going to think,
According
what
to
you're
their
gonna
agenda,
eat,
though.
how you're going to act, the whole fucking thing. They're telling you what is cool and how to act. Then the advertisement. Bleach your hair, girls, be a blonde. You'll have more fun.
Get
It
some
was
titties,
all bullshit. Build up your titties. Bullshit. Question authority, man. Turn off the fucking TV. Even Obama said it. Turn off the TV. You'll freak out for 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, you'll be the happiest person you know. Because it'll bring you closer to the people in your life.
To
and
God.
If you have kids, God, whatever you want to call it, it'll bring you closer to the essence of your own being. That's it, man. And I try to convey that through my music.
That's great, man. And
You
keep
know?
on doing that.
It's hard, but I'm going to keep on.
I mean, I also try. You know,
I'm just saying it's hard because I'm playing clarinet, flute, tenor sax, and alto sax. I bought a plastic clarinet here and rented a pretty bad alto, but I had to make an audition because I need work badly. And I'm really happy being that I found Peter here at the studio and I met you. So things have gone well. Mission accomplished. The work has been hard. I've been coming here every day for weeks, I don't know, a month or whatever, and just playing these instruments every day and finally recording it. And it's been a lot of work.
Great. That's good.
And I will continue playing this one right here. I love. My main instruments are tenor, sax, soprano sax, and flute. That's what I like.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you played very well, and I was very much surprised with Giant Steps the other day that you played it.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody in my life be able to play Giant Steps. I've met some sax players, but, you know, like, knowing John Coltrane and actually knowing John Coltrane.
I never knew Coltrane. I never met him. I never saw him play. But my cousin...
But he lives through you.
My cousin, who's
know?
90 years old, he's a saxophone, flute, and clarinet player, went to Juilliard. I studied clarinet with him. And that's how I got onto Broadway. He used to go to the Village Vanguard and watch Coltrane play My Favorite Things on the soprano. He's 90 years old now, my cousin. He saw
amazing.
that shit, man. Just like my brother went to Woodstock and saw those guys. To me, that's like dying and going to heaven, man.
Yeah. Or that's heaven
For-
on earth.
For me, I used to follow Brecker. I'm a Michael Brecker freak. People tell me I sound like him, and I used to transcribe so much of his work, but you know, it was a hard lesson for me to learn that I can't be someone else. I have to be myself. So I absorbed Michael Brecker's music in my own way, and I know some of his songs, but to me, he was the god. You know, I used to follow him around New York City wherever he was playing, and he knew my cousins, and because he was Jewish, and Jewish guys know each other. You know,
Right, it's a community.
So, and he knew my cousins, and they knew him, and I got to meet him, man. I actually was Mike Brecker and I were in a room this size, just me and him, and he was trying out horns. And I just stood there and watched and listened, and it was like a freaking computer, man. He would play the most incredible patterns down, and then he would reverse it and play it up. He had the most unbelievable technique. And then he slipped into Summertime with all these Coltrane overtones, and my head was just like... It took me 3 days, I think, for me to like, what just happened? You were in a room with Mike Brecker.
That's happened to me. When I went to Switzerland, I met up. Have you listened to Swans? No, Swans. It's this crazy experimental industrial rock.
Oh, okay.
It's really good, and these guys been playing since the fucking 80s. You know, they've been around.
Oh.
And I've been listening to them since 2012, I think. And when I went to Switzerland, I go into this this festival, show them my CERN credentials. I'm like, look, I bought a ticket. I got my CERN credentials. I'm here to study frequencies. I make some shit up, you know.
Right.
I go inside. I meet up the sound engineer. Jerry, and I'm like, hey Jerry, you know, like, look, I'm at CERN. I bought the ticket. I just want to look what you're doing. He's like, yeah, sure, man, no problem. So I'm looking at how he's mixing, you know. Then Michael Gira, you know, all these crazy guys from Swans come in, and
Check the tech.
I can't believe that I'm in the sound check of Swans, you know. And then after the sound check, I'm like, yo, Jerry, think I can go meet Michael? Think I can go meet Chris, Christoph, you know, Phil, all these guys, you know? He's like, yeah, sure, come with me. He takes me. I go up to Michael Gira and I'm like, hi, Michael Gira, I appreciate your music. He's like, hello, thank you very much. And he leaves, you know, and I'm like, okay, because he's a serious guy, you know, he writes really dark shit, but he makes amazing music.
Right.
Go back and I say the same thing to Christoph and Phil, and we started talking about how Phil has made all these crazy music, instrumental music with Swans, and played it in his wedding in the middle of the forest with his wife. And I'm like, I actually listened to that.
I'm gonna YouTube it tonight.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to YouTube Swan tonight.
Oh, you should, man.
Yeah.
You should. It's amazing.
I'm into all kinds of music, except if it's, you know, if you're playing Western music and you play out of tune, then you're not really playing music.
No. These guys, they know what they're doing.
I like music from just about everywhere, man.
They're my favorite band.
Yeah, interesting. You know, I used to have so many stories, you know. I have many stories. But you realize that the stars, the people you look up to, I used to tell my students when I was these young kids, I said, you know, even the people you idolize, the people you look up to and you want to emulate, they have a story behind them. Like when you say this guy who wrote this really intense music, he's a serious guy. He's got a serious story behind him.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the impetus? I mean, what's his intention? You know, I'm sure if you had an intimate conversation, you would be able to find out what is your...
That's the thing, man.
What is your inspiration and source for your ideas? I mean,
that's
your
the thing,
music
man.
is so deep and interesting. I mean, where do you get this? He might let you in on it.
He did.
Might not.
He did. So I tell them this. We're talking a little bit, and the three of them, they're like, hey, come back and have some lunch with us.
Cool.
And I'm like, hell yeah. Because I told him I'm from CERN. He's like, wait, you mean the best place on earth to work? And I'm like, well, I guess, you know. It's like, and then he was interested in me, you know. We go back, we're having some lunch, and it turns out that the same way that I view the world through music was the same way the bassist would look at the world through music, where you would have these very interesting interstellar phenomenons like black hole explosions or black matter and how galaxies relate within each other, and to translate how the universe functions and interacts with each other through music. I even think that's how Coltrane sort of got his inspiration. You know, it was very spiritual to some degree, you know. Or
just to go on a tangent, it was something I was going to tell you before. Yeah, Coltrane had his influences. That's correct. And his biggest influence in terms of sound was Dexter Gordon.
Who is
Dexter Gordon? Was about 6'4". He was a tenor player, along with the same era as Johnny Griffin, and that era of tenor players, Sonny Rollins. Mm-hmm. Who was I just talking about? Oh God, Dexter. Yeah. John Coltrane used to transcribe Dexter Gordon solos. I know it for a fact because Paul Jeffrey, who played with both of them and knew them intimately, told me that Train was transcribing Dexter Gordon solos. And the thing about what Train got from Dexter was his sound. And that's something that I proved in my dissertation at Berklee College of Music in Valencia, Spain. Yeah. I had videos to prove. I said, you hear that lick right there where Dexter's doing that? Playing that note with that passage right there? Stop it. Run the tape. There's Coltrane. It's identical. It's like he ate it for lunch, man.
He must have from someone,
yeah.
You know.
I mean, Dexter Gordon's sound was...
Play it. I know you want to, man.
One of my favorite, man. Dexter was the master. And Coltrane, you know, this little intro that just stuck with me from body and soul.
Can you please point the sax to the microphone?
Just to give you an example of this big, wide open sound. Dexter. Yeah, so Dexter was a big influence on John Coltrane's sound. But then you have saxophone players like Coleman Hawkins, famous solo on Body and Soul. You know, Louis Armstrong, who extended the range on his trumpet over the dominant seventh to create more colors. He expanded jazz and it went all the way up to what we have today. Yeah, Coltrane, he kind of blew the doors open, didn't he?
He did. I actually have some of the drawings of what Coltrane used to draft. I actually want to show it to you because I think you can actually even enlighten me.
I don't know, but my name's Joshua, but I don't consider myself a spiritual guy. Maybe I am.
You don't consider yourself a spiritual man? How could you not?
I'm more damaged goods. It's been a hard road, man. It's been a hard road.
Well,
when you get your heart broken, when you get your family ripped from you, it's not something you live down every day.
But I think in any situation,
let's just put it this way.
That's when you're able to find God in any situation, That's the beauty of God,
You must find strength and courage and faith, whether it's in yourself or something else, to carry on. That's exactly right. Yeah, this is a cycle. See, Coltrane, you understand that music is a science.
Of course. So it's a geometry.
It's a geometry.
It's math. It's beautiful.
Is this his stuff too?
No. That's my stuff.
Yeah. This is called. Yeah. Well, in music you have incidentals, sharps and flats. Basically, what I wanted to say was, I think most musicians, whatever, like you described this composer, I think what happens is we're influenced by sound. Something happens where sight and sound, usually we hear something and it's like, it touches something within us and we have this burning desire to find out the source. For me, it was like I fell in love with the sound of the saxophone. I'm like, wow. I don't know why, but to me, coming up is like, well, jazz is like a revolutionary music, and it's really fucking cool, man. And I'm going to be a jazz musician. Well,
it sounds cool.
That's all good. It sounds great. But once I got to college as a freshman, I got my head handed to me with a big foot up my ass. Don't come around here with this attitude. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. You want to be a musician? Do your homework. And here it is.
Get grounded.
Learn what you need to learn. When I was a freshman at Rutgers University, Ted Dunbar, who was on Xanadu Records, was a Wes Montgomery protege.
That's crazy.
Had Wes's guitar. Wes gave him his guitar, and Ted played with his thumb, and he was a genius. And I thank God for that guy, man. He taught us theory, and it was sink or swim for me because I didn't know shit. The only thing I could do was read music. So I slowly learned all my scales and just delved into that and tried to connect what we call chord-scale relationships. Number one, Ted Dunbar would tell you, any musician, the first thing you need to do is listen to music, a lot of music. of course, according to your passion, whatever direction you want to go in, listen, and listen a lot, and listen discerningly, not passively. For horn players, we used to learn how to put our ears up against a speaker so I can hear where the saxophone player is taking a breath, because they're playing so many fucking notes I can't figure it out. Oh shit, he took a breath there. You see all those little nuance and details?
Studying
the things that you learn along the way.
the player.
Yeah, they're really important, man. So, yeah, Ted Dunbar was probably the biggest influence, along with Paul Jeffrey, of course, and all the other teachers I've had, Bob Berg, George Coleman, Johnny Griffin.
The jazz cats, as some would say.
Yeah, I had a lesson at the Jazzmobile with the late great little man, Ethiopian man, and his brothers. I forgot his name. Anyway, God, he's been around. I think he might still be alive. Just amazing guy. Anyway, yeah, my story is uniquely my own. I mean, I guess if you want, I can tell you how it all started. Like I said, my mother was a dancer. She was a belly dancer. My mother used to go to New York City every morning from Dover, New Jersey on the Lakeland bus to go study with Luigi, Rhett Dennis, and these famous dancers. She was into dancing. And since I was 4 years old, she would drag me on the bus with her to New York when I was 4 and 5 years old until it was time for me to go to school. If I wasn't in school, she'd drag me with her or put me in daycare. But what I saw and heard at that age in New York City at the age of 5, well, first thing you see is when you go into a dance school and class and your mommy brings you back in the dressing room, you're going to see a lot of titties, women changing, and like, damn, okay. Until I was too old. I said, Jackie, you get that boy out of there. He's too old for that now. Yeah. But
and you're like, no, I'm not.
No. So, but what I saw, of course, was the musicians who provided music, live music for the dancers. Now, Luigi had a dowel, a round piece of wood. And you'd hit that thing on the floor, bang, bang, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the dancers would move, you know. And he would have a classical piano player. But my mom would go to another class with Jojo Smith, who was a jazz dancer not in the classical sense, but in the avant-garde. So
What's avant-garde?
Well, it's progressive. It's new, looking for new, not to hold up the tradition of like ballet or something. But Luigi they were choreographers. Choreographers create structure. They create nuance. They create gesture. They create the form, the dance. You know, the dancers just respond to that. But there's music, always music.
There's music everywhere.
So what I saw, was like live musicians. And when I went to see Jojo Smith, there was conga players, fucking instruments. I'm like, this is cool. I'm 5, you know. So by the time I was 7, I started playing the drums because I like the drums, man. Mm-hmm. But I saw my brothers playing this bright, shiny thing. I'm like, what is that? I want to play that. Mm-hmm. That happened to be a saxophone. So that was it. I went to my dad. You know, he's making me take lessons every week. I said, I don't want to play drums. I want to play sax. He says, you sure? Yeah. And that was it. So when I was 8, I started taking saxophone lessons. And when I was 9, I started taking flute lessons. When I was 10, I started taking clarinet lessons. And when I was in high school, I started taking bassoon lessons, which is a very difficult double reed instrument. It's called a fagot in Europe. It's a big, long wooden instrument with the thing comes out with a little double reed. Very hard to play. So my first music teacher of, you know, the significance when I was older, well, I was younger too, was a man named Murray Rose. He had cataracts. So he had these giant glass, looked like the bottom of Coca-Cola bottles, thick glass over his eyes so he could see. And my dad would drive me down to his house every Wednesday for $4 for a half an hour for a music lesson, or an hour, I forget. Mm-hmm. So I did that since I was a young kid, man. And he taught me, Murray Rose taught me the saxophone, flute, clarinet, and bassoon. And I decided to go to school to be a music major. Now, I had no idea what I was getting into because I didn't understand what jazz was, or I didn't know what I was doing. But one thing I was doing was listening to a lot of rock and roll and a lot of Latino music. I mean, I can sing in Spanish. Cucala, cucala, cuca, perdóname. Ay, mi muñeca, perdóname. You know, so it's in my blood from Dover.
Right.
So I got exposed to tons of rock and roll. I used to spend hours with my oldest sibling, my sister Miriam, in the attic of my parents, and we would smoke pot and we would just dance forever to all the classic progressive rock, all the classic rock, all my favorites: Hendrix, Dylan,
King Crimson,
Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young, King Crimson, 21st Century Schizoid Man. I mean, all of this is right here.
And
it's all here. It's in me. All that music. And I took that and became a music major at Rutgers and started learning how to play jazz. And I was in for a rude awakening because I didn't know what I was doing. So,
all right, so
I had to really, I was even thrown out of the band at one point.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
What is jazz? After an entire life of jazz,
sure.
What is?
Well, if you look in the
jazz?
dictionary, it's a derogatory statement. She jazzed it, or jazz it up, rev it up, or push it up, or it kind of has a negative connotation. But jazz was not a term like bebop. That was not, as far as I know, not invented by black folks. These are critics who take language and put labels on things. I know this may come as a shock to you.
No, wait, I lost you there.
Jazz was not a term made up by musicians. It was made up by someone who writes newspapers and articles. It was made up by a journalist.
Well,
but I'll tell you what jazz is.
Jazz.
From what they're saying is,
okay,
the thing that makes jazz is the element of improvisation. Because in jazz, we do adhere to form. You have a melody which has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Just like in a classical arrangement of voices or something, you have four parts. You have the bass, the tenor, the alto, and the soprano. And all these parts intertwine. So in jazz, the element of improvisation means you're composing spontaneously, on the spot, as time goes by, like right now. And that's what I said before about being free, is being in the moment to choose what your thought will be or how you're going to decide, to seize the moment and decide and choose. Now, jazz in improvisation, what enables us to be able to improvise, if I hear a chord, or I can go play with a band I've never played with, which I've been doing a lot here. Mm-hmm. I don't rehearse with these folks.
Right.
It's not that I don't want to, but it's more like I don't really need to, because I know this music that you're playing, and in some cases trying to play. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. I'm digging it. You're playing in tune. You got the vibe. You bring in the love. It's cool. I'll play with Blues Enigma, or Michael Scroggins. Mm-hmm. Or who else did I play with? I play with Esteban. He's a wonderful jazz guitarist here. Yeah.
I think I've heard from him.
Yeah. So there's some great musicians here.
Navarez?
Esteban, I forget his last name.
The Chileno?
No, he's Ecuadorian. Man.
Have you played with Tomas Navarez?
No. Christian Torres, Pedro Ortiz, drummer. Christian is a bass player. Christian Torres is the only acoustic bass player in Cuenca. He plays with the orchestra, so he's a classically trained musician. Nice guy, good musician. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've hooked up with some good musicians.
That's
here.
Cool.
Anyway, getting back to your question of what is jazz. Jazz is being able to improvise on the spot. You're composing instantaneously. But how does that happen? How do you do that? Mm-hmm. How do you make it up? Well, we're making it up, but we're not making it up.
Right.
Because we have to learn the rules of harmony. You have to learn that music is rhythm, melody, and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
I usually mention rhythm first because rhythm is sort of primary. All music is set to rhythm. Rhythm is primary. But melody is also primary. And then maybe harmony. Or maybe rhythm, harmony, melody. Mm-hmm. But those are the three key elements. So you have to learn rhythm, and you have to learn melody, which has a beginning, middle, and end, so we can play together. And then you learn harmony, which is delving deeper into what's behind that melody and what is the relationship between the notes, between the melody and what the bass is playing. Oh, yeah, it's called a chord. Mm-hmm. Chords have character. And what gives a chord character? It's the space between the notes and the names of those spaces.
The geometries, right?
Yep. You got major third and you got a minor third. What's the difference? Size. What does the word diminish mean in the English language? Diminish. Make
Bring it
something
down.
Smaller. So when you diminish a chord, you're making the interval smaller, in which case makes it minor in most cases. Or augmented chords. What does the word augment mean?
Enlarge.
Enhance. You're making the spaces bigger.
So this is fascinating to me because I've always wanted to sort of talk about music in a very geometrical sense. When we're talking about major scales, what you're saying is that the spaces between the chords, between the notes played together as a chord are larger than as they are in a minor chord when the notes are closer together, or?
Be careful. What I'm telling you, I got from my best friend, Josh Selman, who was a genius, who was a Yale graduate in composition. He threw his entire senior project into the Boston Harbor because he thought his professor at Yale was a fucking asshole. And all he did was adhere to all the rules. Mm-hmm. And my friend wanted to break the rules. But he got his master's at Yale University in composition. And he's the one who cracked my brain open. Joshua Selman grew up in Greenwich Village, New York, right near Washington Square Park. He and his twin brother was... Josh played piano and Richard played oboe, twin brothers. And they were my buddies, man. And Josh and I were a team. And he taught me that music is about the spaces between the notes. And I'll explain to you very simply. We have different cultures around the world. If you look at India, they have ragas with these and in these incredible 32-tone scales. What's that mean? That means they have smaller spaces between their notes. They have more notes in their scale. Very simply, Western music, which you have here in Cuenca because you have a classical scene. I'm not talking about Ecuadorian music I heard some music today in a cab, pan flute with a vocalist. I was like, oh shit, this is beautiful, man. It was so organic and folkloric and like, oh man. They were like together and there was a rhythm under it. I love that. Mm-hmm. But getting back to Western music, classical music, that's what we're talking about here. So in America, classical harmony came to America. But you also had the slave trade. So the black folks were also being taken to the South with their whole culture of rhythm. I'm communicating through drums and chants. And then you had the Irish. Just loaded with melody. All this came to the States. Irish with the melody, the Europeans with the harmony, the Africans with the rhythm.
None of them knew the same language.
No.
They're all in the same room
combined
communicating with music.
Yeah, Europeans were bringing all these European instruments into New Orleans. But they weren't allowed to be played by slaves. Only the Creoles, the house... the black folks in the house who had to entertain and cook and all this shit. these people were classically trained to play violins and these instruments,
Yeah,
and they would
course.
entertain these rich people. But once slavery was ended, those Creoles were no more, that structure was all gone. Ain't no master, you're a free man. And they got together with the slaves who picked up these instruments and started with the melody and all these elements of rhythm, melody, and harmony.
And brought the revolution.
And brought the revolution that is known as jazz. But you have to look back at how that actually happened, because before the 20th century, it was a classical tradition. But when it came to America, we had Tin Pan Alley. And that was born out of the red light district, out of prostitution. In the red light districts in New Orleans and some of those towns, there was a piano and a honky-tonk. And this music started to develop, and it was very rhythmic. They started playing dance music, making up all these dances, music and dance. So that was the early days of jazz. But one key ingredient that makes up jazz, historically, is the birth of the blues. Because the blues is about that feeling of the blues, which is called suffering, which is how jazz was born. It was born through suffering, blood, sweat, and tears. If you listen to the blues, traditional blues, you can hear that pain and suffering with these black folks who are poor as shit. They don't have shit, man. But they got a guitar and they can sing and play like you never heard it before. And those are the fathers of jazz. Robert Johnson, Fats Waller, all those guys around the turn of the century plucking those pianos and playing those instruments, man. They were playing some, honky-tonky, Dixieland, what became Dixieland, but it was Tin Pan Alley. And Tin Pan Alley was connected to the prostitution ring because they needed entertainment in the bars. All those things are part of the history. Hey, there's Michael Scroggins, guitar player.
You can answer it if you want.
No, it's okay. I told him, I called him the other day. Basically, you had structure. You had melody. You had rhythm, melody, harmony. It was within a structure. You could count the bars. But what happened was the musicians started to go wild and start to stretch the harmony, probably to make up some time. Hey, keep playing. Okay. And they kept playing, and they just fooled around with the chords, with the scales, and what was born was chord-scale relationships. If you understand the chord and the harmony, whether it's a minor third or a major third, or it's a seventh chord, or it's not a seventh chord, or what kind of seventh chord, then you know the scale. So these guys developed this language way back when, and they developed the ability to make up shit over the form. They go
Miles
in
Davis.
at a certain time, they come out at a certain time because they know the structure. They know the melody, beginning, middle, and end. But they know the chords too. So they can expound and make art. We're making shit up. This is art, man. Look what, and then Miles
Davis with the modes.
Whoosh.
Mode changes. That was one of the most revolutionary things you can do within jazz because he was breaking the rules. But jazz has no rules.
Well, I got news for you. It was Dizzy Gillespie was the one.
Before Miles
learned from Dizzy, man. Dizzy Gillespie sat Miles down at the piano. He said, "Come here, kid. Let me show you some shit. You see this chord? You could play that scale on this chord. And you could play that scale on this chord. You could do all kinds of things. Let me show you." Dizzy Gillespie taught Miles a lot about jazz. Now, Miles' favorite trumpet player was, I forget his name. The late great, I forget his name. Anyway, like I said before, artists had influence from all over the place, man. Just ask Peter. He plays guitar. He's got his influences. So.
For sure.
And you have your influences.
Of course.
And I have many.
We all do.
Yeah. So basically, answer your question. Jazz, what makes jazz jazz is the element of improvisation, to compose in the moment. But it's not something you just wake up and do. I mean, there's a few people like that, like Beethoven or Mozart. They'll write a symphony today. Okay.
Well, I'm deaf.
The rest of us have to work at it.
Right.
And it's a lot of work, man. That's why we learned in college from Ted Dunbar, who was a protege of Wes Montgomery. Wes gave him his guitar. He has Wes Montgomery's guitar, may he rest in peace. He told us, look, man, you have got to learn this language because you can't bullshit here, man. You got to know your chord scale relationship. So when the piano or the guitar player hits that chord, boom! Oh, I know exactly what that is. I could play that or I could play that. Michael Brecker was the one who assimilated John Coltrane's style and brought it into a modern context. All of that intense study and work and contemplation that Coltrane did was assimilated by a guy named Michael Brecker. There have been many people who can play Coltrane's songs and understand what he did and can play their music. Jerry Bergonzi, But Michael Brecker, his technique, his sound, he took Coltrane's music and brought it into a modern context. To quote a very good friend of mine, Andrew Beale, a great alto saxophone player. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Michael Brecker assimilated Coltrane's style and brought it into a modern context. Just listen to his solo on Nightfly on Donald Fagen's album.
I will.
What was the name of that group? Donald Fagen. Asia. You know what I'm talking? Michael Scroggins is an American from Minneapolis, older cat. He has a nice guitar sound. He plays nice, but he was a school teacher. Mm-hmm. That was his career. So he didn't spend his whole life in practice rooms becoming a master on the guitar. But he can play the guitar. And he's a nice guy. So we played a few gigs together.
That's cool.
Yeah. So does that answer your question about what jazz is? I feel like let me explain to you.
Sure.
Let me finish what I was trying to say. So Western music is based on a series of 7 notes that are in the scale. The major scale is a series of notes, but they're in a pattern. And if you look at a piano, you see white keys and you see black keys.
Right.
What's that? Those are half steps. In other words, we have
12 notes.
The space between the 2 white notes is called a whole step.
Right.
But if you go to the black note and then to the other white, that's called a half step, the chromatic. Mm-hmm. And that's the smallest space we have in our notes in the Western system. So the extrapolations of chords from different points, well, you have to understand what are the building blocks of a chord. You have the bass. The bass player is going to play the bass. But what note really defines the character of a chord? I mean, real important one. Remember I said about the blue note? What note is the blue note? The blue note is the third.
The third.
Because if you take a major third and you put a flat in front of it, you decrease it to that black note. So instead of playing, all right, I will go with C. C, D, E. 3 white notes. C, D, E. Don, dee, don, dee, don, dee. Very happy in major. Mm-hmm. But if you flatten that third half a step, it makes the interval smaller. And it sounds like this. Don, dee, don, dee, dee, don, don. Ominous and scary. Right? It's my don dee don dee don 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 dee don dee. Come on to get you, as opposed to dee dee. I saved you from hell. Bo ba do dee. Okay. So these spaces have a vibration. They emanate an energy, and that has an effect on the human body.
Of course.
So when people hear the minor music, it's sad. But when they hear major music, it's happy.
Right.
Reggae, Latin music. Major, happy. That's why Hispanic people, man, are happy, because they love music and lots of rice and beans. But, to me, that was Latin. Latin music is just happy, man. For me as a Jew, thousands of years of some of the saddest fucking music ever played. And there's a reason for that. It's called death, dying, and destruction. When everybody's trying to kill you, you get sad. And when you lose, you get sad. the Jewish repertoire, these songs are, I've played them. Some of them are 1,000 years old. Dee dee da dee da da dee da dee da doo da dee da. Dee dee da 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 dee da dee da da. Dee dee da 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 dee da 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 do 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 dee da da do dee da da dee dee da da do do. It's very sad. But then it goes to the bridge. Be da 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 dee da da. Bo da ba da ba dee. It's a major scale. Da 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 da.
Or the Irish with their songs.
Da 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 dee da dee da. Bo da da. Bo da da dee da dee do da do da. Back to the minor. You see? Mm-hmm. So music has that power.
Where do you think that power comes from?
It comes from the vibration between the space and the notes. When you stack the notes together, it creates a chord. That creates a texture. It's a gesture. It has an effect on your physiology. If I just sit here and play minor music all day, it's going to have an effect on you. If we play happy music all day, happy, it's going to have an effect on you. Mm-hmm. If I play some sophisticated, like harmonic, what is that? Your brain might go, yeah, I don't know, I liked it, but
too complex.
Too complex. Like my daughter would say, why you play that complex shit, Dad? I don't know, I just do. Oh, you just play the hard stuff. No, it's not true, honey.
You just want to act cool.
You're not going to go to Whitney Houston's band and start playing jazz. That's the first thing you learn. You have to play whatever the job requires. Mm-hmm. So loving yourself is one thing and knowing what you need. But if you want to learn to work with others, learn to know what they need and what they like.
For sure.
So when Whitney says, don't fucking play when I'm singing, you don't play when she's singing. You find your spots and you do it, and you make sure you do it right.
Right.
So I know I'm giving you a lot of information here.
I'm taking it all in.
Most of the harmonic motion takes place on the dominant seventh chord, which has a flat seventh. Why? Because there's an interval called the tritone between the third and the flat seventh. It's very unstable. It must resolve. Ba-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dee. Dee, help me, dee, da. It has to give way. So music is about an idea, tension, a motif, and then building on that, building tension on that idea, mm-hmm. and then knowing exactly where you are, and you're painting, and then releasing a 2-5-1, mm-hmm. tension, idea, tension, release,
or resolve,
resolution, exactly. Idea, tension, resolution, exactly.
That's the way of life, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's where I was going. Maybe jazz is just the way of life.
It is.
You know? Like Taoism. Have you ever heard of Taoism?
Yeah. Tao? Yeah.
Would you compare Taoism with jazz?
The Tao? Well, I think it's Zen. You know, I've studied I Ching a little bit.
I Ching's pretty cool.
Yeah, change.
And it's predictions.
Yeah. I like Zen.
Zen's great.
Because Zen is about mastering the moment.
Of course.
Not projecting or making some shit up fantasy. Because we do fall to fantasy. We're only human. We make shit up. Mm-hmm. But Zen is something that will keep you on the ground. It's like, don't get distracted by all this shit. Stay in the moment. Mm-hmm. So if you want to learn how to do something, you have to pay attention to the details and don't keep your eye on the don't, you could fantasize and see yourself as the winner with the trophy, blah, 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 but you will never get there if you don't pay attention to the details.
And the trophy's fake.
And the trophy's fake, right?
Right.
The real trophy, is knowing that you work your fucking ass off to figure this shit out.
It's surfing
and you arrived.
The past and
that's
the future.
That's your trophy, man.
In the present, you know.
I have lots of trophies from my sports days. They're all gone now. I threw them out. Well, that's another part of life. You learn to let go of things that don't really have significance anymore. They had a significance at what time. Anyway, well, this is fun, man. I know I'm glad we're talking about music. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I never got a teaching job, and I'm not going to try to do it. I feel bad for the young players because I have so much I can share with them and show them as a player, but nobody seems to care or want it. So I just keep going my way. Yeah. But I have a lot to.
Well, I appreciate you sharing some knowledge
yeah.
on this podcast, on this episode.
Yeah.
Some things that I will definitely take into consideration next time I create my jazz playlist. For sure, there are names mentioned here that I will Google it up.
Well, I hope you play one of my tunes on your.
Oh, it's already there.
Oh, cool.
It's already there.
Well, we're connected now. So I'm leaving Ecuador next week, but we exchange emails and we stay connected, man.
Yeah, man.
Like I learned later in life, conversation doesn't necessarily have there's no certain beginning, middle, or end. Conversation can go on forever.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've kind of realized is that, and it's kind of goes with love. You love someone, and then you're like, no, I don't love them anymore. But we think about love as very linear. As time goes on, you're like, I loved this person yesterday and I don't today. But what time really says is that the wave that you've emitted making music, the wave that you've emitted loving someone in a conversation, that keeps on going and resonating with the universe forever. So if I'm in some other galaxy, I'm just waiting for the conversation to arrive here.
Interesting.
You're
a sci-fi guy like him. Like Peter.
Yeah, that's why we get along,
Sci-fi guys, man. It's cool.
Sci-fi stoners, the best guys there are,
That can be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, for sure there is a lot of fun there.
Cool, man. Cool.
All right, man. Is there something else you'd like to touch? Think you've...
Yeah, well, I have so many stories to share. A lot of fun stories, man. All the... meeting all the people. I remember playing at the Roadhouse, Lone Star Roadhouse in Midtown Manhattan with a band called, I forget the name of the band. Really good band. And my friend says, after the set, goes, look over there, Josh. It's fucking Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, the lead singer from Led Zeppelin, who, when I was 16, 17, 18, that was God. I never heard any rock band like that. I remember running up the street with the album. Look at that! I mean, I flipped out. I was crazy about music, man. Thank God. And I walked up to him and I said, "It's a real pleasure to meet you, man. You're my favorite rock and roll singer. One of my favorite rock singers of all time." He's like 6'6", dude's 6'8", huge, and all these Atlantic Records A&R young people around him. It looked like a bush. He was like towering. I'm going, man, you're the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. I love the way you sing, man. Oh, mate, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. It's really nice of you. I appreciate that. And I'm going, should I invite him to my gig? I'm like, yeah. I said, Robert, listen, I'm playing in the Village tomorrow night. It's my birthday. You come down? Oh, mate, thank you so much, man.
And did he?
No. He says, man, I'm in town. I'm promoting my new record, man. I'm here with the execs and stuff. I can't come down, but I really appreciate it. It's really nice of you to invite me, Josh.
Well, he's a nice guy,
That's what I'm saying, man. Our idols and people we look up to, they're just humans, man.
They are.
They need to go to the bathroom, eat, sleep, do all the things that humans do, man. That's why I encourage all people, open up conversation. People like to be asked questions. People like to like what you're doing today, asking me about. No one asks me about my past, or no one cares, man.
Well, that's the whole idea of a podcast.
Exactly.
Just
and I appreciate
getting to know people.
I appreciate it.
Well,
worldwide.
Worldwide, of course.
I have friends in Stockholm, Sweden, Valencia, Spain, Los Angeles, Ecuador, New York, Puerto Rico, Canada, I have friends in Colombia. I have friends everywhere. And that's what music has done for me, man.
We need definitely more music to break down these barriers of oppositions
music does that.
Politicians create to keep us under control, Like, that's what really sucks, Like, we've forgotten this spiritual element within music because music was created for people to connect. And now with AI creating music, like, where are we going with that, man? You know?
It's an event. I'll just say this about jazz. Traditionally, historically, jazz was dance music.
Right. You started out with black people making music
folks,
for white music to dance, you know?
No, they were making music for black people to dance, not for white people to dance.
Well, what I've heard about the stories, and I might be wrong.
They integrated eventually.
Right. They were making music. Black people were making music. White people were like, make music for us so we can dance. Maybe it was because they heard black people make music for black people, and they wanted it for the parties. So that's also what jazz is. It's a revolution. It's changing. It's forcing cultural changes, breaking barriers, you know?
Yeah. But you have to understand one of the elements that makes jazz is the history of exploitation, prejudice, and racism against black folks. They were segregated. They weren't allowed to come into the front door of the gig. That went up into the 60s, man. 70s. Club owners used to they bopped miles in front of the club. They come out and say, hey, move on. He goes, fuck, dude, I'm fucking playing here. Boom! Yeah. Segregation is a big part of what makes jazz jazz. I know that's a big thing for me to say. I'm not taking away from all the development of the sophistication of harmony, melody, rhythm that came through classical European music and African rhythms and Irish melody. It's all real, man. That happened over time. It doesn't take away the fact that back then, the turn of the century, 20th century, the bands were segregated. It wasn't until years later that like my best friend John Gentry Tennyson's dad, Hal Tennyson, who's on the original recording of In the Mood, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey Band. My friend's dad, White, used to cross the tracks in Houston to give lessons to the poor black kids who didn't have instruments. He'd bring instruments. Just like my friend Chris Weigers, who's in Africa. He lives in Uganda. Now he's back in America. He was there for 10 years. Chris's father was a surgeon in Huntington, Long Island, and he delivered John Coltrane's children. This is my good friend. How's that for some serendipitous, crazy-ass shit? I was 59 years old, and I met Chris in Spain. We both got our master's degree at Berkeley, Spain. And we got to know each other, and he told me, yeah, my dad's a doctor. He delivered John Coltrane's children. I'm like, what? Robbie?
From Alice Coltrane?
Yeah. So we're very close. A good friend of mine.
Is Alice Coltrane still alive?
No, she passed away.
Oh.
She passed away. She passed away this year.
I've been listening to her music recently, and it's so beautiful.
Now that.
It's fucking beautiful.
You know, sometimes life is hard and it's a struggle. Me personally, when things get really hard, it's hard to hear the music. For sure. Now, I feel a change coming. So just to comment on her music, I have to be in the right headspace to sit down and take that in because it's deep, man. You know what a trance does? You know what a trance, like in classical music, you have rubato, where it just sort of, the time stops and it's kind of open and floating, like a vamp. Dum, dum,
just resonating with everything around it, you know?
And all of a sudden, there is no form anymore.
It's
you
just
don't even know
pure
what one
sound.
is. You don't care what it is. It's just there. Alice does that.
She does.
So I have to be in that place.
Yeah. I try to live in that place.
You got to be careful.
Why?
Because you have to live in the real world.
Yeah, the real world sucks for sure. But
you don't want to say that every day. But
that's Zen.
Own your anger, though. I will say this to you and other people. I am one angry motherfucker right now, and I have every right to be angry. If I could tell you all my story, you have no idea. Health insurance in America, a broken leg from a bicycle accident, sitting on the couch with a broken leg for 3 months, no surgery. Now I'm having trouble walking. My father fought in World War II. My grandfather fought in World War I. We worked our asses off. We paid our taxes. And when I needed help, I didn't get it. Yeah. My father died, not a good death. And his sister died, not a good death, at the hands of the medical industry. My mother died from an infection from a knee surgery. It killed her. Why? Because the hospitals in America are filthy. They're dirty. She got infected. Who do you blame?
Who is there to blame?
Who is there to blame? It's endemic. It's a systemic problem that needs to be addressed because there's more than enough money to take care of everybody. And that's the point I'm going to make. That's why we should be angry. Because, well, democracy is about a conversation, man. You got to work it out. But now there is no more conversation because money is the decider. There's no vote. Yeah, you vote, but...
And money isn't even real. That's the craziest part about it.
Well, money is real. It's an energy.
What do you mean it's an energy? Because would you compare money with currency? Or money itself is something different than the currency?
There's books written about this. My ex-wife, she would love to talk about this. Esoteric. I can't really explain it. So I'm just going to say that. That's all I'm going to throw out there. Yeah. It's how you throw that energy around. That's what I'm saying.
But would a human being want that energy?
Well, money empowers people. I mean, you can do shit with money.
Yeah, of course. But would you want to do things with money? That's the whole Zen thing, like you've
Look at
heard
let Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She just gave $700 million to more black colleges. The woman's giving back, man. $700 million. And that's not the first time. It's the third time now. She's taking Jeff's money and fucking giving it to black people. And I'm like, yay. Right on, man. Yeah.
But you also need education to handle money because you give money to someone who doesn't know what to do with the money. He's
That's
just going to do cocaine,
right. That's exactly right. If you look at professional athletes, particularly the black ones I'm talking about, some of these guys grow up in unbelievably harsh conditions. No dad, mom raises them, they're poor. God knows how they got through and got themselves on the fucking NFL, man. Congratulations. But many of them didn't understand the relationship to money, that you can make a lot of money, but you need to learn how to hold on to it and how you can use it to benefit yourself and the people around you. And that takes some planning. Just the greed has destroyed the U.S.
That's what I'm saying.
It's destroyed the U.S.
Is the energy of having money something that a human would want? Because having too much money, having too much power, that's inhuman,
No, exactly.
What do I do with $1 billion?
Well,
who do I become having $1 billion?
This is a moral question. It's a morality issue and values. Like my father used to say, life is really about a person's values and, having a moral backbone.
Of course.
There is no more moral backbone to business anymore. It's kill or be killed.
Right.
So money, we learn by example, right? We influence each other. And when a young kid grows up in a family that's rich, but he sees that his parents, they have value and they understand the meaning of, they understand the value of relationships and what it means to be alive, and culture and art and humanities and language and love. And they use that money to build a beautiful environment and have nice things, but they're not assholes and douchebags. Because most people who get money are douchebags and they fuck up. From what I can tell, most of the leaders, power corrupts. It probably would happen to me. I mean, if I had a lot of money, I'd buy a house with a studio near water, a river, and I'd have a nice girlfriend again, and I'd just live the rest of my life, man.
Just chilling.
Have a rehearsal space, have my band come over, chilling, man. Enjoy some good food, good sex. That's it, man.
Well, honestly, I think that's enough for anyone. Yeah. But for some people, it's not enough, Yeah. It's not enough.
There's a saying a friend of mine said years ago, and we're not, we support real feminism. We're not woman haters or anything like that. We're like really fair and balanced. It's like men create, women have babies. Now, I'm not saying women should be in the kitchen. I'm saying this is a reality. A woman can have a baby. A man cannot. A man occupies himself in his day and his time thinking about his intention, his worth, his purpose. And then hopefully through his influences, he learns, oh, we work, and we work for ourselves and we work for others. All the sociological shit, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's all connected on an instinctual level. So in terms of money, when I say to a lot of these black athletes, they're like, I'm going to get the badass car, I'm going to get all the badass bitches and blah, 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 because why don't you get married? My parents, he doesn't have a good role model. Or maybe figures it out. So a lot of these guys, they fuck up. They fuck up with drugs or they lose their money. Now there's a lot of gambling because they can't get it. I mean, how much money do you fucking need, man? God. So you see there's different interpretations of this, you know. If you, money, man, the root of all evil. Oh, a lot of good songs out there about money. Money, 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 money.
Money.
Some people got to have it, yeah. Some people really need it. Do things with it. Almighty dollar. That's what I'm saying. People need to look themselves in the mirror and be honest, because, you know, you got to bring the love. That's why a lot of relationships fail, because if you don't love yourself and you go into a relationship thinking everything's going to be hunky-dory, it never works, man. You have to be able to
learn to be by yourself.
You have to be your own leader.
Yeah. You have the responsibility of making your own values, because this is something that I was talking with Peter the other day. I told him, when was the day that, under Nietzsche's terms, God died? Because I feel like God isn't that talked about much anymore, you know? It's more about talking about power. It's talking about money. It's talking about hustling. It's talking about, you know, your achievements, your trophies. It's talking about the house you have. It's talking about the job you got. You know, like, people don't have that community of that is constructed under religion, because I feel that, well, I'm raised as a Catholic, I feel like the church has betrayed me in so many ways.
They have. They've led you astray, just like millions and millions of people around the world.
Of course.
Let me tell you something about Judaism.
I would actually love to talk about Judaism, because I really don't understand it, and I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand it, and it's eady to judge.
Let me crush one fallacy that people, racist and bigots, just love it.
Right now, it's
I've lost
big.
I have a very close friend. He's a hip hop producer. He's half Swedish and half Black American. He's an incredible person, but he's all over the place. He's a genius. His brain is just like, whoa. But we don't agree on the Middle East. Anyway, the term "we are the chosen." Who the fuck goes around saying, I'm chosen, I'm better than you, we are the chosen? Who does that? You see, that phrase has been misconstrued and used as a trope against Jews forever. That term, "we are the chosen," was a philosophy that Jews live by. Our mission in life is to bring people closer to God. That's pretty exciting. My job is to bring people closer to God. It's very enlightening. It's not saying I'm better than you. We're on this mission to bring people closer to God. We're chosen to bring people closer to God.
Chosen by who, though? By God. Ourselves or God?
By God. They feel that,
by the universe.
They feel empowered. Like, we've been anointed. We have this. The power of revelation and realizing that we're all connected through this unknown force, this energy. This
web of the universe.
Most people believe in God. That's fine, man. I'm an atheist. I'm a humanitarian. I believe in the goodness of what this world has brought us.
You're an atheist.
I'm an atheist. I'm born a Jew, raised a Jew. I read and write Hebrew, man.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, let me back up a little bit because I really want to understand
Let me explain
Judaism.
to you something about
what does it mean to be a Jew? Like, are you born because of your genes?
What does it mean to be a Jew?
Yes, I'm completely ignorant
Let me
towards
tell you
this,
something.
and I think most people are.
You've heard
you know?
of the 10 tribes, right?
No, I haven't.
Jews were just a bunch of black people running around Ethiopia, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Jews were just a bunch of black folks running around Ethiopia, the cradle of civilization. There were 10 tribes. That whole area that civilization came out of Africa.
Okay.
In 5 different colors, man.
Right.
Chinese,
The
Indian,
Asians.
black, white, Asian. All that shit just sort of moved out. That's why the Arabs and the Jews are the closest in bloodline.
Okay, this is my question. So are you saying that as I can define a person as an Asian, I can define a person as not white but Jew?
No, Judaism is a culture.
It's a culture.
It's a culture. It's not a race. It's a culture.
I see. Because there's huge
You have
between...
Chinese Jews, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's a culture.
Okay.
It's not a race. That's why you have Jews in all shapes, sizes, and colors from around the world.
Right.
And the basic tenet of the philosophy to seek wisdom and enlightenment through understanding God's will in anything and everything.
But if you're
This
an
pen,
atheist...
What is God's will? What's the intention? That's why if you go to a yeshiva and these young kids, the ones that don't go to war in Israel, all they do, you have to see, like in the Torah, each letter of these words has 50 different meanings. Just one letter. And trust me, there's some mathematical shit going on there. People have been trying to figure it out. So in the yeshivas, they'll spend a week trying to figure out what is the meaning of this in the context of this and this.
And for people who...
So their brains are constantly like calculating. That's why Jews became incredible with numbers.
Einstein.
They were forced to keep records. Now, Jews are never allowed to own land historically. Forever.
That's crazy.
Since the Jewish diaspora, when the Romans, the Greeks, the Romans, the Assyrians, the Teutonic Knights, the Crusades, when the diaspora happened, all that shit was over. But they originally were, that guy with the spectacles writing his Torah shit. You're going to keep numbers for us. I'm going to suggest a book for you. It's called The Source. The Source by Howard Michener. Michener was a historical novelist. So his books were fiction, but he would spend a year or more studying a culture and the stories behind what he was doing. And he would take different names and weave the actual history into a narrative that actually gave you the history, but with different names. He wrote
like extrapolating the archetypes of the story itself, like for example Greek stories of Prometheus
with
and
modern
Zeus
figures
and shit like
that. Read that book. It's
I will.
1,400 pages. It's not short.
You said that Judaism is a culture. So you saying that you're Jew means that you belong to a culture, and that culture is backed up by this sense of purpose created within yourself because of God's inspiration to push forward.
The Jewish thing is about seeking out God's will.
But you said you're an atheist.
In all I'm
so
an atheist.
how does that fit within the puzzle?
I get best of both worlds, bro. Think about it.
I'm trying.
Tomorrow I could say I believe in God. Maybe not. Maybe the next day. It's an ongoing work, man. This is my interpretation of what I see and what I feel and what I hear, man. Because right now, with all the perversion there is regarding religion and what is meant to be, which is a philosophy to help people live together better,
in a community.
In a community, better lives.
Of course.
That's what religion was for.
Of course, the Ten Commandments. It's
Yeah,
just be a good person, you know?
But you see, the Jews didn't say, well, if you don't believe in our God, we're going to kill you, like the Christians. Christians are fucking bloody, man.
Ask the Templars, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm against institutionalized religion, because it's been used as a tool since it came from Europe. That's what happened in Europe. We can control these motherfuckers with this thing called God. Yeah.
That they
and we're
don't
gonna wear
understand.
these. We're gonna wear these fucking crazy fucking hats and clothes.
And we're gonna come in horses.
Yeah,
They don't have horses here, you know.
Those images are powerful, man. We, as humans, are so fucking vulnerable, man, to visual stimulant. We have this instinctual thing where we are influenced, man. Look to what I said before about the culture we live in today. People look as a white motherfucker. They have no idea who I am. They just guessed by the color. There's a white motherfucker,
you know.
Yeah,
like,
gringo.
I have a friend from Great Britain, and he said, they call me a gringo, but I'm European, so I feel so offended. You know, and
it's a funny thing, man, because I'm white, totally look white, like all American. I mean, I look like the all American guy in high school. They called me the all American boy because I didn't sound like I'm from Jersey. I don't sound like no one knows where the fuck I'm from. But if you want to really know where the fuck I'm from, I'll tell you, because I got lots of shit to tell you. Okay, but I just talk this way. This is the way I talk.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. People judge the book by the cover, man. Don't do it.
For sure. I'm also raised in Jersey, you know.
You are?
Of course. I told you I'm from Dover.
That just blows my mind, man. I can't believe you're not born in Dover. You're born here.
No, I was born in Cuenca, but I was raised in Dover.
Jesus Christ, man. This is unbelievable.
I told you I went to North Dover Elementary School. Yeah.
This is incredible, Alex.
Yeah.
How old are you?
25.
25 años, man. You're a kid, man. Fucking hey, there's been so many changes back there, man. Yeah. Look, you know, talking about Judaism is a touchy thing these days.
It is, for sure. But it's great that I'm talking to a Jew about Judaism, because that kind of, you know, it makes it easier.
I think I have enough wisdom and knowledge to tell you what the real deal is.
Yeah, because...
Let me tell you something about the Jews.
Please
because
go ahead.
of their experience. Well, okay, the Jews wrote the first Bible, the book. So they learned how to read and write and shit. But what I'm saying is, what I learned was the Jews as a culture, way back when, they emphasized education, which means language. And where does that come from? It comes from stories. All of our language comes from stories. Sitting around the campfires, cavemen and women, telling these stories about the hunt and the this
taking
and the that
shrooms,
and this and this and taking
their brains start
talking about all kinds of shit.
Crazy.
This is the development of language and the experience that they had. So the Jews always had an emphasis on education and language. And the thing about Judaism as a religion, there are many different interpretations. There are a lot of different sects of Jews. You have Orthodox, you have conservative, and Reformed. People don't know that. But conservative Jews, they look at me and go, "You're not a fucking Jew." Reformed? Oh, fucking woman? You can't be in the synagogue. Oh, that's only for men. Judaism, like most religions, and was originally a very macho, non-empowering for women at all. I guess I can't think of the patriarchy. You know, it's
that's the word.
What the richness of the religion was, though, it wasn't about controlling others. It wasn't about a means of control, which is what happened with institutionalized religion in the church. The Christians, they use it as a tool to control.
Yeah.
But the Jews, their philosophy basically was, you know, we need to improve our lives as we live together. And the way we can do that is by seeking out God's will in all and everything from one moment to the next.
And how do you read God's will in your environment?
How do you read God's will? Well, they go to the synagogue on Fridays and Saturdays.
What's the synagogue?
The synagogue is a temple.
Okay.
Where they go in there and they have a collection of 10 people where they can open up the ark and bring out the scrolls and open them up and read them and interpret God's word. So they're looking for the meaning in their lives through God's word. And to me, that falls short.
And God's word is written by people inspired by God, I suppose.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's the point we're always trying to make, like, dude, you're saying that you're hearing to God's will, but that was written by a man. It was written by God. Yes, but it's an ongoing argument.
And that goes for
But
any religion.
There's a beauty to Judaism.
They're all written by
It's a very pagan
man,
religion.
you know?
But there's a beauty to it. You know, it's like anybody would tell you, if you want to convert to be a Jew, they'd say, why would you want to do that, man?
I know people who
You
have.
got to live by all these rules, the 512 laws of the Mishnah, or 514. You have to observe all the holidays. Now, I saw that. I grew up like that.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's parents were Orthodox Jews. My father was a conservative. But
A
then
conservative Jew.
Yeah. So I was raised a conservative Jew. I had a bar mitzvah. I read and write Hebrew, man.
That's crazy.
My sister speaks fluent Hebrew. She went to school in Tel Aviv. So yeah, we're Jews from New York. My dad was from Brooklyn. My mom was from Long Beach, California. So, you know, there's a tradition of Jews bringing strangers into their homes to feed them and help them, man. There's a beauty. There's a real beauty to Judaism, man.
And if Jews can't own land,
traditionally they weren't allowed to own land in Europe.
Just in Europe.
Well,
or all over the
mostly
world?
in Europe. They were persecuted in Russia, Europe. You know, don't forget they became very insular with their religion and their quest for their purpose in life. They didn't eat the same foods. Now here's where things get weird, because like certain cultures, you know, eat certain foods, and some people won't try other food. No fucking way, I'm not eating that. I don't know what that is. Whereas some people are like, yeah, I'll try that shit.
Yeah, of course.
You see how everybody's different
Conservatives,
instinctually? Right.
And
so what happens is when you have these
libertarians.
Jews, they're like blessing this food. What's with the candles and the wine? This is right here. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we don't eat pork.
Mm-hmm.
You don't what? We don't eat pork. We don't eat animals that chew their cud and have split hoofs. Somebody just made up the fucking rule, man. I don't know why. But in Europe, you don't eat pork? What the fuck? You know how Jews saved themselves during the Inquisition in Spain? I was there. I lived there for over 2 years. Now in Spain, they have jabon. They have these giant ham hocks, and you see them in all the restaurants and stores all over town. You go in there, you can get a slice of prosciutto. It's awesome. I'll eat it. I love lean protein. I don't care. The Jews in Spain, they realized that they were coming to kill them, man. They went out and bought ham hocks and hung them up in their windows, because they knew that the people that were coming to get them, if they saw that ham, oh, that's not a Jew. They got ham in the window.
So many stereotypes.
Or they could pull their pants down and see that you're circumcised. Kill them. So I don't know why, but let me tell you the story of circumcision.
I would love to listen to that
Jews
story
were in the
because
desert.
I don't understand
40 years in the desert.
Do you really think it was 40 years?
Well, we don't know. I don't know. The Jews were slaves in Egypt. They were.
Yes,
they built
that's
the
a
pyramids.
historical fact.
Yeah, the Jews were in Egypt, and they escaped. And it's a huge story. It's pretty colorful. So what happened was, back then, this is before when everybody had a foreskin. When they lived in the desert, lack of water, a lot of times they didn't have enough water. Apparently what was happening was people were getting infection. They were starting to get infections in the
dick.
In the end of the dick. And some Hebrew decided, you know something, we can avoid this danger, because all the bacteria is collecting in the foreskin there. It's just hanging out there. If we peel that away and get rid of it, it exposes it, but at the same time, you don't have the risk of this bacteria just sitting there all the time.
Of trash,
if you don't have water to
dick.
wash out the extra,
Right, I can imagine.
you don't want that, because it'll smell and it'll cause infection. That is apparently the origins of circumcision.
So circumcision
I'm sure the
is
first guy
cutting it off.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
Peeling the skin
they
down.
stretch it up, and the rabbi comes in, and he picks the perfect point around the head, and he Now, when my nephew Adam had his circumcision, we were all in the house. My father sat down on the couch. He put a pillow on his lap and the baby Adam right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And the rabbi came over and he cut his dick. You know, it was just, and that was it. No cries, no tears.
You're a baby.
The people were flipping out were the women upstairs. The women upstairs were fucking flipping out, man.
Because it's not culturally accepted, I suppose, right?
No, it's culturally accepted. It's
within the
Jewish community. You have to be circumcised. That was their way of solidifying their covenant, a way of saying, God, we have the highest respect for you. We're going to cut our dicks the way we did traditionally.
I see.
So today, it's not fucking necessary. It's not necessary.
Right.
My grandson is not circumcised, and I don't give a shit. It's not necessary.
What do you think about what Judaism has become nowadays with the ongoing alliances of Israel, the United States, Taiwan, and now Ecuador,
Judaism.
You know?
Yeah.
Because Ecuador is now part of that alliance.
Religion doesn't really have a place anymore in our society.
It doesn't,
in
for
some
sure.
ways, because right now it's all about the money and power.
Mm-hmm.
And people need religion because it's community.
Because we're humans, and
we're
kind of built to
this is the way
adore,
people,
right?
Don't forget, historically, it's the way people brought together community and solidified their cultures and their foods and their ways and their traditions. It came through religion. And think of all the, like my daughter would say, you know, I'd go to the Louvre in France, and I'd say, Lena, I just got tired of looking at all the fucking naked butts, these gay guys with their naked asses and like a sword stuck through their fucking gut, you know, blood and, you know, upset. What is this? And he goes, Dad, religion is the source of art, man. That's all the financing of art and all the shit that came through. Okay, religion.
Ask John Coltrane.
Yeah, religion served an incredible purpose. But the people who will usurp authority by taking this religious philosophy and turning it into a decree that, instilling fear in people that if you don't adhere to God's will, according to what God's will is, that's why this whole war thing, God's will, is to go out and kill and maim and do all this horrible shit.
Well, that's happened with
bullshit.
Vietnam.
It's a lie.
With fucking Iraq. It's
a
happening
lie.
with Gaza.
It's a lie. They're using religion as a tool. They don't give a shit. If you can do that much killing and damage and that much evil, it's obvious you're not a very pious or spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
Action speaks louder than words, man. There you go. Yeah, we need more Coltranes, don't we?
Yeah, that's why they say that jazz is dying.
No, it's not dying, man.
I don't think it's dying, but they say that.
Oh, man, there's some kids in the United States, man. They are fucking ripping, playing their balls off. It's unfortunately, education, it's become a white thing because it costs a lot of money to go to college, and you can learn how to play jazz in college, but a lot of the black kids, they learn it from the street, they learn it from going to clubs, like the old way, man. And I know it's Patrick Bartley in New York City. This kid is playing. This kid is like on another level, like Chris Potter. They're out there. They're phenomenal players, man. They may not have everything I like, but it's really something, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz is alive and well. It's just the people who try to make money off it will manipulate the opinions. Oh, jazz is dead. Jazz is alive. Jazz records sold. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fusion music. Fusion never sold. Fusion. Well, you got music and then you got business. Okay?
Right.
It's art. So if you want to put your fucking business in here, don't tell me what art is. You stick to your business, I'll stick to the art. What is art?
That's another
art imitates
question,
life. You know? But now what we have is life imitating art.
Machines.
That's why you have all this bad fucking music, because these kids are generations empowered by these powerful tools, computers and synthesizers. But I'm a producer. No, you're not. Because you made a product and you could sell it and you convinced people I got this beaten shit and girls with tits, and that's the music business, man.
It is.
It's got nothing to do with art.
So fucking sad, man.
You know, and I'm sitting there with my daughter watching a hip hop video. I'm going, oh God, she's going, Dad.
The
I'm like,
Anaconda song.
yeah, I'm like, I forget. I said, honey, let me explain to you something, okay? Music is about art. It's a song. It's a melody. It's music. Okay? This has some elements of music, but this is not art. This is This is business. These girls are in their shorty shorts with their titties out, shaking their booty because they want to be noticed. They want to be loved. They want to be happy. I don't know if they're making money, but the guy who's rapping,
He's making
he's
money.
making the money. So the question is, are you paying those girls or you're not paying those girls? What are you doing with them? So this is business. So she can go, oh, yeah, a song is a song. You have to learn how to write a song without a computer. Or you could be like an idiot. Or, well,
And
look,
now with
man,
AI, you know, it's fucking
Look.
crazy that you can create a song within 30 seconds, man.
Yeah, I hate AI in art. I'm just going to say that the
I hate it
digital
too as
era,
well.
as much as it blew my door off, and probably is the reason why my wife left me, because I couldn't get enough work as a player in New York City, a young guy. Just really tough, man. It's really tough, man. And I'm good at what I do.
You are.
I've played on Broadway. But to get back on Broadway, it's like you have to kill somebody. Like getting into the Philharmonic, you gotta wait for somebody to die. It's not easy. So, and you have to be ready when that call comes. Right now, I'm waiting for a phone call. Clarinet, flute, alto, tenor, saxophone. I'm ready, man. That's what I do. And I'm getting tired because I don't really want to play the clarinet anymore. It's a beautiful sounding instrument, but man, it's a beast. You got to play it every day, just like the flute. It's not the same as the saxophone. Different embouchure, different fingering. I probably spent closer to 200,000 hours alone in a room learning all these instruments. And I play piano too, and I compose. So I'm no regrets. I'm happy, man. It's good. It's good. Music has enriched my life. Yeah. And my daughter loves me. She's proud of me. So my life has purpose.
That's kind of like the whole purpose of it, to make your children proud.
Yeah.
When you're a parent.
Yeah.
I guess.
Absolutely. You want to lead by example. You want to be a good example, and we try to
Good
do the
role
best
model.
we can. Just remember, no one gives you a book, so you have no fucking idea what you're getting into. When you have a child, you can read a lot and prepare, and it helps, but you can't prepare for something like that. It just changes your life, man. You know. Yeah.
Are you proud of how you've raised your children?
Well, I didn't see my daughter for 5 years. My ex-wife took her away from me when she was a little girl.
Oh,
So we suffer a terrible loss. But the time we had together was very, very productive, very
and precious.
quality. Because when your kid says to you, "You're a great dad," wow, man, make you cry. Yeah.
Make you play the jazz.
Yeah, man. She's my inspiration, man. She's my pride and joy. Well, you heard about love giving sight to the blind. My baby loves me, but 'cause the sun does shine. She's my sweet little thing. She's my pride and joy. She's my sweet little baby. I'm her little lover boy. That's Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know who Stevie Ray Vaughan is?
Of course I do.
That's one of his tunes.
The blind
Well,
piano
you heard
player.
about love giving... Oh, that guy, man.
What a genius, man.
Oh,
What a genius.
the way he played the guitar, man. Even the masters, like Albert King, they were like, yeah, boy, that's some good shit. The way he drive the rhythm and play, man, it was like a freight train coming, man. When he played, man, wow. The earth moved. Every time Stevie Ray Vaughan played, man, yeah, just like, because he had the intensity of Hendrix, man. Those two guys, they fucked up all the guitar players.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They really set the bar for
Exactly.
the next one.
Well,
you know?
look at us saxophone players. Charlie Parker, Bird, the way he played. There are cats who fucking gave up. As soon as they heard that, they're like, what the fuck? Yeah. And there are others who was like, I need to know what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, Coltrane, but there's a picture in a book that I have. Coltrane is sitting there watching Charlie Parker, just like this. He's got a cigarette in his hand. the entire fucking ash is burned to the end. And the whole ash is there. And it's like hanging off. And Train is just like this. Mesmerized by Charlie Parker. Because Bird, man, he was from outer space. If anybody was from another planet, that guy.